الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والفجر وليال عشر والشفع والوتر والليل إذا يسر هل في ذلك قسم لذي حجر ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بعاد إرم ذات العماد التي لم يخلق مثلها في البلاد وثمود الذين جابوا الصخر بالواد وفرعون ذي الأوتاد الذين طغوا في البلاد فأكثروا فيها الفساد فصب عليهم ربك صوت عذاب إن ربك لبالمرصاد فأما الإنسان إذا ما ابتلاه ربه فأكرمه ونعمه فيقول ربي أكرمن وأما إذا ما ابتلاه فقدر عليه رزقه فيقول ربي أهانن كلا بل لا تكرمون اليتيم ولا تحاضون على طعام المسكين وتأكلون التراث أكلا لما وتحبون المال حبا جما كلا إذا دكت الأرض دكا دكا وجاء ربك والملك صفا صفا وجيء يومئذ بجهنم يومئذ يتذكر الإنسان وأنى له الذكرى يقول يا ليتني قدمت لحياتي فيومئذ لا يعذب عذابه أحد ولا يوثق وثاقه أحد يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. صدق الله العلي العظيم. أفلح من صلى على محمد وآل محمد.
الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين، حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا، صاحب السكينة المدفونة في المدينة، المبعوث رحمة للعالمين، أبو القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين، وبعد. ولعنة دائما على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى يوم قيام الدين. قال جل جلاله في محكم كتابه الكريم: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أم يحسدون الناس على ما آتاهم الله من فضله، فقد آتينا آل إبراهيم الكتاب والحكمة وآتيناه ملكا عظيما. آمنا بالله. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلى على محمد وآل محمد. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This verse in which I read is from Surah or chapter of Nisa, verse 54, where God says, and are they envious people that God has given a certain people out of His grace? But we have indeed given the house of Ibrahim, Ali Ibrahim, the book and wisdom, and we have given them a grand kingdom. If we know, or we looked at today's topic, we'll try to discuss in this short period of time what it really means to be a true wonder or a real wonder in society or amongst humanity. That when we look at certain aspects of our lives, or what we perceive as something as wondrous, do we see it from the point of its outside or physical appearance, or does it have an inner meaning? If we look at, since about the 1950s, tourism has changed dramatically. You know, with the advancement of technology, people are able to travel around the world much easier and more affordable. You know, people even go into certain places, they are able with also the technology to check up on these places that they probably even years ago just heard about or from word of mouth. Now they're able to actually go there, physically see it, learn information on the internet before even deciding to travel to that certain place or not. Holidays or leisure is just part of our daily lives for those people that are able to do it. It's a time where people can just take away from the chaos of everyday society and have that breather. And it's very recommended, as we'll see very shortly, even for the Islamic point of view. But even the word holiday sometimes can be used in terms of those that are sometimes their battery or their spiritual battery is a bit, needs a bit of recharge. So besides leisure, people that go to holy places to also be connected with holy individuals that they need that spiritual uplift, whether they go to Mecca or visiting the Imams. And this is very recommended as well. And that's why we know that really you can't be a muwali of Ahlul Bayt if you don't especially when it comes to the ziyarah of Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. You know, you're always yearning for this, even though sometimes, you know, when people say when it comes to tourism, you have to physically go. But subhanAllah, with our religion, no. Actually, the tourism can also be spiritually from any distance in the world. And it's recommended that on a daily basis that you actually go to an open area and send your salams to the imams. And we know this, that because it's something that they have to return it back. You can imagine this, if you actually truly believe it, that no matter in the world I go, I send salams to, and hopefully the imam will send it back. And the fact is, the word holiday comes from the old English word halag day, which means holy day. And believe it or not, they actually used to only celebrate certain days that were holy. But now, as you can see, even when it comes to the Christianity and other parts of the so-called monotheism religion, you find that these holy days have become fasad days, mischief days, far away from what they originally were intended to. Even that of Christmas, for instance. Unlike Islam, Islam is different. Every day connected to God is in fact, the God's. For instance, in the Quran, God says, وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا مُوسَى الْآيَاتِنَا أَنْ أَخْرِجْ قَوْمَكَ مِنَ الظُّلُمَاتِ إِلَى النُّورِ وَذَكِّرْهُمْ بِأَيَّامِ اللَّهِ. So even for a Muslim, a true Mawali of Ahlul Bayt, that every day that you see the reminder of God, and you see that certain aspect that takes you from dhulumat, from darkness to light, is in fact the day of God. So when you look at this, does now the question go on to say that, does the Quran encourage tourism? And the answer is yes, many times, and we'll talk about it shortly. That first of all, the Quran itself is a wonder. The Quran itself is one of the greatest ever wonder, that talks about historical facts, as Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam has said, fil Quran naba ma qablikum. In the Quran, there's like stories about the past generations. وَخَبَرْ مَا بَعْدَكُمْ. And it's actually news of events of coming. وَحِكْمُ مَا بَيْنَكُمْ. And there's actually this knowledge between you. This book that we take for granted, and I talk to myself here first, honestly. This book that we see that has these historical events, as Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam has said, that it tells you about events that are even in the future. Because you have to understand this, my brothers and sisters, in the Quran, even with the advancement of technology, what is the pivotal point of Bani Adam, of human society, from Adam until the day of judgment? The same vices that exist between humans, no matter what it is, whether it be hasad, envy, ghiba, people that want to be in the dictatorship, injustice, the righteousness, everything when it comes to that of the inner character is manifested in the Quran. The Quran itself has that power that it even talks about aspects that we come across on our daily basis. Depression, for instance. It actually talks about it. It doesn't talk in terms of the way that we know it, but when you look into the actual ayat of the Quran and you look at it and you think, wow, I didn't see it that point of view. When the Quran says, وَلَا تَكُولُوا كَالَّذِينَ نَسَوا اللَّهَ فَأَنْسَاهُمْ أَنفُسَهُم. Do not be like the people that have forgotten God, for they forget themselves. Those people that if you study, and we have a person that studies, mashallah, Sayyid Rida, psychology, ask those people that one of the deviations that really gets them down to this state is their disconnection from something that is divine or power. They forget themselves. مَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكًا. Whoever goes away from this is basically talking about depression. It's not in the way that we see it, or it's known as in today's society, that word. But everything you can talk about, propaganda is in the Quran. I'm not going to go for all this because then I'll go off the topic. But what we're talking about, we said that does the Quran talk about that of tourism? And in fact, 6 ayat in the Quran talk about this factor of encouraging you to go out and, travel. The Quran says, وَقُلْ سِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ ثُمَّ أَنظُرُوا كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةَ الْمُكَذِّبِينَ. Go, travel the earth, and see those that lied. In another ayah, God says, قُلْ سِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ فَأَنظُرُوا كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةَ الْمُجْرِمِينَ. Go and travel the earth and see those that were like pretty much criminals, guilty. Those things, where it says those people that lied, those people that were mujrimeen, those that were criminals. Look at it. Look at society. Look at and we'll talk about shortly about the monuments as well that are relics of this previous generation. God is saying, go back, go and have a look. See those past generations, see the people like Pharaoh. Where is he now? Where's all that might? Honestly, if you went back in a time machine now and you didn't know about religion and you saw the kingdom of Pharaoh, may God's curse be upon him, would you not say that, like back then, you say, wow, this guy's successful? You would say it. If you didn't know anything about it, you'd say, look at what he's got. Look at the power. And this is to the point that the takabbur ana rabbukum al-a'la. Then you look further on, you see this homeless person that's pretty much traveling through the bush and the wilderness and all that stuff, and you say, look at that guy's poor. Do you know that guy's Isa ibn Maryam? The guy didn't have a house. He even used to, when he came to the time of going to sleep in places, he would go to a cave and he find there was wild beasts in there. He goes, Ya Allah, even the wild beasts have a place to cover, and I don't. Because these people are something that we will find that the real wonders is something that has a transformation within an individual. It's not allocated to a certain place. So when we look at these ayat in the Quran where God says, Sila for ard, He's telling you, go and see, these past generations, go and see what happened to them. Learn from their lesson. Learn from those people that were, and as the Quran says in another verse, that in another one, He says, Sila for ard, then He says, وَكَانُوا أَكْثَرُهُمْ مُشْرِكِينَ. That most of them associate with God partners like they do in today's society. Can you see that through these verses of the Quran, we're supposed to go back and learn. And if in fact, because we're talking about wonders, if I said to you now, what are the 7 wonders of this earth? There's actually several categories. You have those that are what we call the ancient wonders of the earth, like the lighthouse of Alexandria doesn't exist anymore. The statue of Zeus in Olympia doesn't exist anymore. The hanging gardens of Babylon don't exist anymore. The only one that exists is the pyramids of Giza. That's the only one from the ancient ones. Then you have man-made. You have man-made ones. You have man-made things like the Taj Mahal. Petra, in the old city of Petra of Jordan. You have that big statue of Jesus in, I think it's Brazil, Argentina. And then, these are the Great Wall of China, man-made stuff. Then you have the natural wonders of the earth. Natural wonders of the earth. Mount Everest, for instance, is one of them. The Aurora Borealis, those colors that you see in the Northern Lights. And in Australia, we have the Great Barrier Reef, believe it or not. But what I'm saying, that behind each one of them is something that God has said, look and learn from. Maybe the man-made stuff, behind that one, each one of them has a particular story. It was like, for instance, like if we look at the Taj Mahal, it was a mosque built for, the wife of a ruler that died, for instance. So there was something personal to it, or something that was related to that particular era or age. Now the Quran also tells you, in traveling, to also ponder about the creation of God. So it's not just travel, it's also traveling with thought. So God, for instance, the Quran says, الَّذِينَ يَذَكُّرُونَ اللَّهَ قِيَامًا وَقُعُودًا وَعَلَى جُنُوبِهِمْ وَيَتَفَكَّرُونَ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ رَبَّنَا مَا خَلَقْتَ هَذَا بَاطِلًا سُبْحَانَ فَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. Those people that worship God night and day, and they remembering while they're sitting, laying on their side, standing up, and they ponder about this creation. It's not created in vain. It's not created in vain. Every single day, there's actually wonders in front of you, and you don't even realize about it. Honestly, Because what happens with the other wonders? Who made them wonders? Beni Adam made them wonders. They're the ones that chose them, even though the natural ones are God, God created. But who gives them the right to say that this is a wonder, for instance? Who gives them? This fallible person comes and says that this is a wonder. Why? Because it had some kind of impact in history. There's actually bigger things that we can learn about. But the Quran is saying here that remember that each and every one of you, there is in fact wonders upon you every day. Take, for instance, the tree of the tut, the mulberry. I just want you to comprehend this very, very, very important example. Because whether you eat mulberries or not, I'm just saying that sometimes a wonder is in front of you, but you are heedless of it. Because we don't have this tadabbur, tafakkur, to see that these blessings that are in front of us on every single day base. The mulberry tree, one tree, bees eat from it, produces honey. Sheep and goats eat from it, produce milk and cheese. Silkworm eats from it and produces something that's very, very expensive, silk. Deer eats from it and produces a beautiful musk. One product, and look how many, one source and how many products we get from this one tree. Can you see the ponder? In fact, God is saying, do you want another example to show you that within these miracles, there is a wonder that you can find that has an effect on you on a daily basis, but you're heedless of it? For instance, rainwater. Has anyone explained, the situation of why this rainwater, it should be salty, shouldn't it? Why is it fresh, for instance? Why is it so that there's a system that we don't see that's heated up by the sun? It's like a distillation system that the only water vapors go up into the air. The salt remains down, and we get fresh water. But in this situation, God is in fact saying to you, if you are connected to something wonderless, if you have certain aspects within you, you can also rise. I'm not saying here that salt is bad, but what I'm saying, in order for you to rise, and be connected and be a wonder, to be connected to the greatest of wonders who we'll talk about shortly, there are certain aspects that you need to have. Firstly, salt is bitter. And we said that the sun needs something. The sun heats up the water in order that the water can rise up. You, as a servant of God, you sometimes need to be heated up. You need to be tested in order that you rise up. Water is a pure substance. It's got two elements in it, hydrogen and oxygen. Two elements needed to make a beautiful compound called water that is basically the essence of life. God says that we are created from this water, everything that is living. In you and myself, in order for us to rise as well, you need two compounds as well. And that is, of course, the Quran and the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. You have these together, then you completed the compound. You completed yourself, you're able to rise up in your status. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam tells people about going back to this factor, about the wonders of the earth. He says in Nahj al-Balagha, he's talking to his sons. He's saying that I have taken lessons, as if like I've gone back to these previous people. I've taken lessons from it. I've seen their events. I've seen their traditions. I've seen the relics they left behind, as if I was part of them. I was there at the first of them and the last of them. He's telling what he's saying, Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, he's saying that these people, because the Imams know everything. They say that as if I was within these people and I saw what they did, and we've taken lessons from this. So when we go back to understand everything about being a true wonder of God or God Almighty, we'll find these wonders that I explained to you. First of all, they're susceptible to travel. You have to travel to them. Maybe I'm not interested in the pyramids of Giza. I'm not interested in the Taj Mahal. And also, you find that, like the previous ones, they're affected by age. So all these things, they're separated all around the world. They're placed in different situations and environments. But every one of them has a different perspective, whether they are, something that affects them. But what a true wonder is, my brothers and sisters, a true wonder is something that can live within society, because on a daily basis of what we go through, live within society, whether you like it or not, whether you're heedless about it, that it's affecting you, it's giving you blessings, and this true wonder doesn't need to be allocated in one situation. It doesn't have to. It can be passed on. A real wonder can be passed on from generation to generation. That's a real wonder. And what it is, the transformation of this true wonder isn't through like man-made, structures. It's through the hearts of the believers. It's through the hearts of the believers. If you know this, first of all, when God Almighty says in Hadith al-Kisa, يا ملائكة ويا سكان السماوات إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئا ولا فلك يدور ولا بحر يجري ولا فلك يسري except لأجل المحبة الخمسة هم تحت الكساء اللهم صل على محمد. So basically, you want to know what true wonder is? It's none other than Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. To understand that everything, we might not see this in our senses. That when God talks about the bright moon and the luminous sun and the canopy of the earth and the winds that move the sailing ships, everything here, which has an effect on Bani Adam, behind him is none other than God's greatest ever creation. Because of their blessings, God has given us wondrous things that we are of benefit from. How much do we benefit from the sun? How much do we benefit from the moon and the wind? Everything is because of Ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. So what God is saying here, that the true wonders of this earth are those that can inspire the hearts of humanity, are those that give those people, no matter where they are in the world, and they don't even want anything back. لا يريد منكم جزاء ولا شكورا. We don't want anything back of you. We do it for the sake of God Almighty. So when they do this, they are what they're doing. They in fact are giving you something that you become a wonder. You become, because you're connected to them, you become luminous. You become something that has that effect, that can also keep another wonder going from place to place. And subhanAllah, these other people, as you know, they have at least in their divine character, when they've come out, they've shown to you, you know what? When you want to become a real abd, a real servant of God Almighty, and you know that you've only got one master, and you hold on to the true values of what we are giving you, because they're divine qualities, then with these instilled, you will not be, you can say, you're not be prone to one era. You'll be able to have that effect that Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam says, that do good unto people. Be this wonder that when you live, they long for you, and when you die, they weep for you. They remember you. Say, this person touched me. This person left an effect on me. And above all this, the Imams have said, this is very important, the Imams have said that because you become a muwali of us, a lover of us, just be careful of your actions. Be careful, because every good deed from a lot of people is good, but from you it's better because you represent us. And every bad deed is bad in its way and its action, but from you it's even worse again because you represent us. The mu'min gets to the stage that, because from the ahadith, that there's sanctuaries around the world that God has given, like the Kaaba. But he goes, one of the greatest sanctity is that of the honor of a mu'min. And Imam Zain Abidi tells you this, he goes, because we give you everything, we give you this fadila, you take it off us. So when we look at things like when Imam Zain al-Abidin talks about that we're given 6, and we're preferred over the people by 7, we're given al-ilm, wal-hilm, wal-musamaha, wal-fasihata, wal-saja'ata, and he says something very good. So he goes, وَمُحَبَّةَ في قلوب المؤمنين. This is very important here. So first of all, look at the aspects he said. If you connect to a wonder, you get these wonders. And only that, remember we said that the true wonders, it moves from heart to heart. The Imam is saying that we were given 6 things that no one else was given. The hilm, knowledge, al-hilm, forbearance, the forgiveness, integrity, or you say honor, shaja'a, like, courage. And he says, and the love. Only the love of the true believers can have us in the heart. And he says, of course, the second part of it, that God, that He preferred us because that from us is al-Mukhtar, al-Mukhtar, al-Muhammad, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And each one of them is a wonder, what I speak about now. He goes, from us is the Holy Prophet. وَمِنَّا الصَّدِّيق, Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. وَمِنَّا الطيار, جعفر الطيار. وَمِنَّا أسر الله وأسر رسول الله, Hamza. وَمِنَّا سبتي هذه الأمة, الحسن والحسين. Allahu Akbar. Can you get more pure than this? Can you get something that's more wondrous than this in society? But only certain people will be able to see this. And we'll go shortly back to show why we connect to wondrous people, because these people, my brothers and sisters, are empathetic. Empathetic meaning it's not about feeling sorry for someone. That's okay. Empathetic, when it comes from a divine individual, means that that divine individual can basically put himself in that position and know what you're going through. He sees through you. He knows you. So in other words, the actions that they do, because they're divinely connected, they'll do whatever possible to not just be that comfort for you, but be that comfort for you in terms of showing you guidance, of showing you what the real purpose of life is. This is what empathetic is. This is what Ahlul Bayt did. For instance, like Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam, because only a couple of days ago was his, blessed birthday. So just a couple of little examples to show you. And this is an example that people that are connected to the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, that's why you get the likes of Salman al-Farsi. That's why you get the likes of al-Maghdab. That's why you get the likes of Abu Dhar, Ammar bin Yasir. Because they connected themselves to the real wonders. They saw the greatness of these people. So the Imam says, there's a beautiful narration of the Imam to show you that once he had a very bad, relative. He used to always abuse the Imam. Even in public, he used to abuse Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam. So, the Imam shows the companion again. This is to show you that, subhanAllah, these stories, they're not just meant for, that sounded good. It's meant for me. If I truly believe in their cause and want to follow him, then I try to put myself in that position and try to do what the Imam has done. He says to him, do you see how this person treated me? Come with me. So he goes to this guy was a relative. Goes to the house. As he's going to the house, all the Imam is reading is وَالْقَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظِ وَالْعَافِينَ عَنَ النَّاسِ وَاللَّهُ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Those people, they're the ones that suppress their anger. قَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظِ وَالْعَافِينَ. Those who forgive people, and those who do good. He's saying that when the person saw Imam Zain al-Abidin come, he thought there was going to be another confrontation. So the Imam gives salam to him, and then he says to him, look, if what you said about me is true, then please forgive me. And if there's something that you might have heard wrong, then I forgive you. And the person, of course, that just brothers and sisters, words from the Quran, from the Ahadith, the words that we take for granted, words are what can change an individual, change society. Just words, especially when they come from a divine individual. So, and then he goes, and then the person goes to him that no, he felt that guilt within him. He kisses the Imam on his forehead. He's asked for forgiveness. But what I'm saying, this is the same Imam that the cursed Marwan ibn Hakam, and his cursed father, Al-Hakam ibn As, these are two people that the Prophet actually banished from Medina. Not supposed to bring them back. SubhanAllah, see what happens when people deviate from the right path. You get these cursed, disgusting, evil people coming back into the Islamic faith. And we're wondering why our society today is like this. SubhanAllah. Anyway, someone like this Marwan, first of all, battles Amir al-Mu'mineen against Amir al-Mu'mineen in the Battle of Jamal. Then he has the nerve to stop the burial of Imam Hassan al-Mushtaba next to his grandfather, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then what happens? He's there with al-Walid, telling him if Imam Hussein alayhi salam doesn't give you bay'ah, off with his head. And after everything, when the tides turn, when he found that they were getting attacked, they're coming to the end of the reign of Bani Umayyah, and he found that his family were in need of security. Who does he turn to? Imam Zain al-Abidin. Allahu Akbar. All your life you've been attacking Ahlul Bayt. All your life you've seen these people, but you knew within that, when you take that vice away from you, you knew that within these people there is grace. You knew with it that these people are true wonders. They're not going to refuse you. They're not going to say this person did this before to me. No. So he goes back to the Imam, and the Imam looks after his family. Even to the point that sometimes the Imam himself didn't want to show the fadila of who he was, because sometimes he didn't want people to say, because he's related to the Holy Prophet, then I'm going to be treated differently. To the point that one day a caravan came from Medina, and to go to Mecca, and another person joined them along the way as they were going along to Mecca, and he sees a godly, divine individual walking around serving the other people. He said he had the face of Nubuwwah on him. He knew that, so especially the person recognized him. He went up to the people and said to him, "Do you know who that person is?" Says, "No, we picked him up in Medina. He out of all the caravans, he chose us." He says, "Do you know who that is?" He says, "That's Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam." They were shocked. He said that he's been with us for all this. He's the one that's been running around serving, looking after us, cooking. They went to him. They said, "Ya Ibn Rasulullah, we asked for forgiveness. We asked for forgiveness." He said, "There's nothing to forgive. I chose your caravan because if I go to other caravans and they know me, because their relationship with the Holy Prophet, they would want to treat me differently. I didn't want to be treated differently." Who honestly, give me an example in the world we can find people like this. And you're wondering why you have to go and look at other schools or other thoughts. You have the most wondrous and most true people in your religion. This is so beautiful about the greatness of these people. And to show you that these are the only people that are truly needed to enlighten that beautiful heart of yours, that you become a wonder. It was said that once, this reminds me of a beautiful story, when it said once that, since we're talking about the wondrous stuff, it was that a school teacher said the same thing to his students. He said to them, "I want you to write down on a piece of paper the wonders of the earth and present them to me." So, everyone write, what they've been learning, the wonders of the earth, So they handed all the papers in. Most of them got the 7 wonders that we all know about. But one particular girl, she was completely different. She goes, he called up, he goes, "You got 7 wonders here that I've never heard of." He goes, "What are they?" She said to him, "You've got down your eyes, your ears, your nose, your mouth, your tongue, your hands." He said, "Yeah." "And the last one, sir?" He says, "The heart." He goes, "Yeah, these are my," he goes, "Explain them to me." He goes, "Old teacher." He goes, these things are what lets me know about and feel about the other wonders of these that God has created on this earth. And the last one is most importantly, He goes, because it's through my heart that I know that this hand, this eye, this nose, this everything will not be able to move without the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He goes, and on top of all this, sir, do you know what enlightens my heart? He says, certain individuals that God has ordained us to love, and that is none other than Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Honestly, when you connect to these people, when you connect to the greatness of this, subhanallah, Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam talks to the servant Abdullah bin Jundub. He tells him, he goes, wallahi, and for an imam to swear, in terms of his graceness, he says, wallahi, he goes, لو أن شيعتنا استقاموا لصفحتهم الملائكة. Allahu Akbar. If our Shia were truly to be steadfast on what we teach them, to follow us, that the angels would have shaken them, would agree to them. Then he says that the clouds would cover them. They would walk among people with shiny faces. And the God will make the rizq, Allahu Akbar, He'll make the rizq come from the samawati wal ard to them. And whatever they ask for, God will give it to them. If only they connect to us. Can you see now how beautiful this beautiful wonder is? So when we look at the verse in which I read at the start, أَمْ يَحْزَدُونَ النَّاسَ عَلَى مَا آتَاهُمْ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِ فَقَدْ آتَيْنَا آلِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ meaning آلِ Muhammad. اللهم صل على محمد. الكتاب والحكمة وآتيناه ملكا عظيم. That we gave them. People were jealous that God had chosen these great people. People were jealous that God made them. They're the actual a kingdom that's not prescribed or conveyed to one area. Like, they're everywhere. That's the mulk. The mulk is the whole of the universe. Everything belongs to them. So when you look at the outside meaning of it, there's two meanings of it. I'll explain it very shortly. So it's very important. First of all, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam talks about this hadith. He talks about that in the Quran you have two meanings, the Zahiri and Batini. The outside meaning is very important to us to understand. To connect to God consistently, we don't look at what is in the hands of Bani Adam. And we're not jealous of what God gives to this person or that stuff. No. He says here that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam talks about that from the authority of Ibrahim ibn Abi al-Balad. He talks about that Prophet Moses alayhi salam sees a person that's protected under the shadows of the throne of God Almighty. This is a beautiful narration. So Musa goes saying, wow, what has this person done in order to get that position? Like under the throne of God. He says he's done two things. The first thing, that he was never disobedient to his parents. Always respected your parents. And for those people that have their parents, respect them, love them, honor them before you lose them. Believe me, it's very hard. And on top of all this, then he says to him, and the second, what the second part is? He goes, he was not jealous of what was in the hands of Bani Adam. He was content. And a abd will never reach that stage of servitude until he knows that what is in the hands of God Almighty is greater than what is in the hands of Bani Adam. You won't understand what contentment is, or to be someone that's radi. But when you look at that verse in which I read about who are these people, again, according to the narration of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, Imam Muhammad al-Baqir, he says about this verse, أَمَّا يَحْسُدُونَ النَّاسِ عَلَى مَا أَتَى اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. Are they jealous of what God has given them of His grace? He says, نَحْنُ وَالنَّاسِ الْمَحْسُودُونَ عَلَى مَا أَتَاهَ اللَّهُ مِنَ الْإِمَامَةِ دُونَ خَلْقِ اللَّهِ أَجْمَعِينَ. They're jealous about this great position that God has given us, that people are envious because God has given us the imamah from the beginning of creation. This is the greatness of who these are. You're asking me who the true wonders of this earth are? You're connected to them every single day through your prayer system, through the dua system, through the hadith of the blessed life. Again, in another narration, again to show you this. فَقَدْ آتَيْنَا آلِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةَ وَآتَيْنَاهُ مُلْكًا عَظِيمًا. يقول جعلنا منهم الرسل. First of all, I'll explain in Arabic. الرسل والأنبياء والإمة عليه السلام. فكيف يقرون به من آل إبراهيم عليه السلام وينكرون في آل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. So Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam says here, we gave the family, of course, the family of Ibrahim, the book and wisdom. We gave them the great kingdom. He goes, we made them amongst them the messengers, the prophets and the imams alayhi salam. So how do they acknowledge it for the family of Ali Ibrahim, and they don't acknowledge it for the family of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad? And lastly, al-mulk al-azim. This is very important. This is to show you that the package now comes together. Allahu Akbar. So that how the ayah starts and how the ayah finishes. He says, they're asking the imams, what is this mulk al-azim? What is it? He says, al-mulk al-azim an ja'ala fiha al-immata min ata'ahum ata'a Allah wa min asahum asa Allah fa huwa al-mulk al-azim. So basically, following Ahlul Bayt and Ahlul Bayt, and making sure we disassociate with anything that of course the God told us to disassociate from. Stay away from these people and obey God and disobey anything else. Basically, tawalli wa tabarra. That's very important. Very important. You cannot become a habd or get to the stage of true yaqeen. If you have this mixture of trying to please these people and trying to please that people. No, there's only one. You follow us and you stay away from our enemies, and this will in fact make you hold on to the right condition. Lastly of my speech, to sum it up, that I talked about so much travel, and hopefully in the essence of who these true guidance are. One important factor when it comes to traveling and the history of traveling is one aspect that we probably don't really talk about much, and that is archaeologists. And you say, what's that got to do with me as a servant of God Almighty? It has to do a lot with you. Each one of you, believe it or not, on every single day is this, whether you want to refer it to or not, is this type of the archaeologist, the type of person. What I'm saying, an archaeologist, what does he do? He looks back at history. He takes away, they slightly move away all the other things that are covered up the truth. Don't they? They do all this stuff. They investigate. They see, in other words, to expose it, to learn from it. You're supposed to be doing this on a daily basis. Every single day, you're supposed to move things that are not there, that are obstructing your servitude towards God Almighty. Learning about the Ahlul Bayt, getting closer to Him. You become that archaeologist in yourself, and the difference is that you're not doing it in a materialistic way, but you're doing it in a spiritual way. You're doing it, in other words, you're giving yourself the knowledge to that place that you become that servant of God Almighty, because the word abd itself, according to Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, is made up of three things. The word abd first is ilm. Is for ilm, that you learn, the ma'rifah, the knowledge. The ba is bu'ad, to stay away from everything and to dissociate with anything that keeps you from knowing what the truth is. And the dal, which is dunu, which is closeness to God. Whatever brings you close to God, you do it. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to hasten the reappearance of Imam al-Hujjah alayhi salam. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He does not take us out of this world except that He's pleased with us. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the ziyarah of Ahlul Bayt fil dunya wa shafa'atun fil akhirah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have mercy upon our loved ones that have gone into the next world. هذه وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات المسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات رحم الله من قرأ سورة الفاتحة مع الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.